to the Experience Darden podcast. I'm your host, Brett Twitty, and you are listening to a new episode. On this episode of the podcast, I'm excited to share my recent conversation with Rodrigo Delgado and Nini Ratto Schol. Rodrigo and Nini are second-year students in our full-time MBA class of 2025, and they are also married. I recently connected with Rodrigo and Nini to talk more about their respective backgrounds, how they decided to pursue an MBA, what led them to Darden, how they spent their first-year summers, and more. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. And as always, if this conversation is helpful for you, please like this episode and subscribe to Experience Darden so you never miss an update. And remember, you can always check the episode description for links to Darden blogs, social channels, and more. And now, without further ado, here's my interview with Rodrigo Delgado and Nini Ratto Schol. Nini, Rodrigo, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Nini, how are you doing?
Oh, good. We have been 1 week back in Charlottesville now, and it feels great. We miss this place.
Yeah, it's a nice place to spend some time. Rodrigo, how are you doing?
Yeah, definitely feel great seeing everybody else again. It's definitely lovely.
How does second year compare to first year, Nini, in terms of just kind of getting started with your classes, getting back into the flow of things?
Yeah, I think it's a little tough. Like after not being in class like during the summer, getting back to the pace of reading cases and going to class, like start at 8 and everything. But at the same time, it's like it's amazing because now we get to choose exactly what we want to take. So we have 100% electives. And it's also like a little odd, like it's mixed feeling because you don't go to your section anymore. Like you're not only, I'm section D, so I don't only see people from section D throughout the day. So I'm getting to know new people. So it's a mixed feeling between like fun, a little bit like of like missing being with your section, but overall, I think it's amazing. They say second year, best year, right?
That certainly come up on the podcast. Rodrigo, how about for you? What's second year like? As you think back on like first year when you're getting started, now your second year, how does it feel?
It feels great to have all that agency of choosing what you want to take, what do you want to study, and have like all the classes are interesting to you personally. I love that part. Also, you get to build your own schedule. So I don't have any more 8 a.m. classes this quarter.
Well, that sounds nice. Obviously, when you're your first year, you don't have much choice. You have class Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to about 1:30 p.m. So it's a second year, a little bit more choice there. So, well, thank you both for coming on the podcast. It's good to talk with you here. I'm going to start off just by learning a little bit more about you and your stories, and then we'll come back to this conversation about second year. So, Rodrigo, tell us more about you. Who are you, and what's your background?
Of course. Well, I'm Peruvian. I'm an industrial engineer. I've worked in a wide range of different industries. My last job before coming to Darden was in consulting, and I really enjoyed it. It was challenging. The hours were long, but I don't know. It is satisfying. I don't know how to say it. And like the variety of it all keeps it interesting. Um, I am I really enjoy playing sports. I'm a very outdoorsy person, so Charlottesville for me is incredible. I love Charlottesville. Um, yeah, we've been married. I've been married to Nini for 2 years and like 3 months or something. So yeah, that's me.
All right. We haven't had too many married couples here on the podcast, so I'm excited about that angle. Nini, tell us more about you. Who are you? What's your background?
Sure. Well, also Peruvian and also an industrial engineer. Actually, we met during undergrad while we were studying industrial engineering. And after undergrad, I started working in the CPG industry, mostly managing strategy, like pricing strategy, channel strategy, road to market strategy. First at a big Peruvian CPG company. I would say it's the biggest of Peru. It's called Alicorp. And then a little more than a year before coming to there, and I swapped to Nestle. And yeah, also like sports, I was part of the rugby national team back in Peru for like 5 years. So sports are a big part of our life. And yeah, that's me.
All right. Well, Nini, I'm curious. You mentioned industrial engineering, working for a CPG company, eventually ending up at Nestle. How long had you thought about pursuing an MBA? How did you get interested in pursuing an MBA?
Well, actually, I've had it like on top of my mind since I finished undergrad. Like I knew I wanted to do an MBA. I didn't know exactly where I wanted to do it, but I always knew. So, but when actually started like uh, investigating a little bit more about MBAs, different schools was like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. I was starting to study for the GMAT, which we all everybody has to do. And then I started dating Rod. So actually, I pushed my MBA a couple of years because we started dating, then we decided to get married. So we wanted to enjoy like that phase, and then we decided to come to the MBA together.
So, Rodrigo, how long had you thought about an MBA? Perhaps you have thought about it for a long time too.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I had it in my plans since forever. Like I knew I wanted to take do an MBA. I just had never planned it to be at any point. It was just like in my mind, like, yes, sometime I want to do an MBA. Um, but then when I started dating Nini, that was already studying for that, I was like, yeah, I didn't think about doing it right now, but sounds like a good timing. So yeah, let's just do it together. There's one more thing that we do together.
All right. Guess it's all who you meet, get to know, and next thing you know, you're doing an MBA program. So, um,
Yeah.
well, I appreciate the fact that like y'all's story has a serendipity, met each other, and decided to take off on this path together. Nini, how'd you get interested in Darden specifically?
Well, we had a couple of advisors that were advising us, obviously, throughout the process. And one of them mentioned Darden. We haven't heard about Darden before, actually. Back in Peru, and that's something we're working on right now with more people and friends. And we started looking into Darden, the methodology, the case method, like the people talking to second years, talking to admissions. And we started like, no, we didn't start, like, we put Darden as our first choice, actually, after knowing what Darden was, what Charlottesville was, what the people were like. But yeah, we found out because of them.
So you're trying to raise awareness down in Peru
Yes, we
about
are.
Darden.
Yeah, actually, I was like a couple of weeks ago, I was back home while like during my vacation, I went to the NBA tour with Darden. And it was amazing getting to know people that are already interested in Darden.
That's great. So Rodrigo, obviously, doing a business school search process, recruitment process as a couple has some different dynamics than just for one person to be applying to business school. And
Ooh,
how did that work out for you?
ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was very interesting process. Because I don't know if you know about this, but Nini was accepted and I was waitlisted. So that made things more complicated for us because we were in this situation of uh, what do we do? Do we push one more year for reapplying? Um, or should we look at other schools that we both accepted, or what is the path forward here? Um, so it was a stressful situation for sure. Um, Although everything worked out in the end, and we were very happy when we heard the news, and we were like, yes, we made it. We'll go. We are going this year to where we wanted to go.
Yeah, I know that ambiguity is hard, although we do have students every year who initially end up on the waiting list and they stay engaged with the team, they have conversations with the admissions folks and take steps to enhance their application, and they find out that they're able to join the class. So that is also part of some students' MBA journeys. I did not know. So I
Oh,
appreciate your sharing that. So,
of course.
Rodrigo, you come to Darden, you're a brand new first year student. What was the adjustment like to being in graduate business school?
Ooh, yeah, I don't think I have read this much in my entire life. It has been. academically challenging, um, responsibility challenging. It's put a good structure into me. Just reading cases, uh, getting to like contributing classes. All this, all of this has been very new. It's very different from the from undergrad. It's Our undergrad was not case based, and it definitely, you can definitely see the difference between them. Um, I've enjoyed every second. I feel this learning experience has been a lot more engaging than my past learning experiences. So I really enjoy it. I feel I've learned more here than anywhere else. So yeah, I think I've again, I really enjoy this learning experience.
So, Nini, you're also in education and background. What was the adjustment like for you coming to Darden?
I think like there were many adjustments that we had to make coming here. First, being away from the family. I think that's a big thing for us because we're really close to both of our families. Then the language, obviously, we used to study in Spanish, obviously, and it's our first language. It's way easier to do that. And like gaining the confidence to speak up during classes in another language that is not yours, in another like way that you used to do before. I think that was an adjustment for me. And also the culture. Like we have many different international students and adjusting to them, it's also a big thing. Like I think that the Latinos in general are a little bit like warm people, and it's like people treat different, like it's completely different, like people wise. I don't know, it's been a good adjustment, like getting to know like all the different cultures, getting to know how they get along, getting to know what their preferences are. I think we're having like a really enriching experience here at Darden.
I appreciate the point about the global diversity. I mean, you have almost 40% of a full-time MBA class comes
Yeah.
from outside the United States. And I want to stick with your point about the language difference. Obviously, you've done your prior education in Spanish. Here you are in the English environment. How did you get comfortable with speaking up in class? What did it take for you to get to a point where you really felt like, okay, I'm confident now. I can contribute here.
Yeah, well, when I was little, I used to study in German. I was actually in a German school, so I had like some practice before, but in German, not English. And I think like once you start speaking, it's like nobody's gonna judge you. Like people are amazed already by how you are managing to get like an MBA in another language that's not your first language. So once you break like this ice or this fear, just like for yourself of speaking up in class, you know already that like as I told, like everybody will be always amazed by you participating in class just because it's not your language. Like people always tell us like, I don't know how you can do this. Like people, Americans tell us that they couldn't be doing this in Spanish, even though they learned like Spanish for 5 or 6 years. So yeah, I think it's something that you need to fight like just for yourself and break the ice, and that's it.
So, Rodrigo, you mentioned the food. Have you been able to find some places that you enjoy, or how have you managed through that? Because admittedly, like the cultural difference and food is part of that.
Oh
Is part of the shift for students coming to the United States for their MBA program.
yeah, definitely. Peru is a very rich country in like food wise. We've been awarded with the best culinary destination in the world for 10 years out of the 11 that award has existed. And I actually tell this to everybody, but it is amazing. Like I think it's like there's six or eight restaurants in the top 50 that are in Peru. Like the best restaurant in the world is last year was it's Peruvian restaurant. And I'm open to any cuisine. I really enjoy food. I think maybe all Peruvians just like enjoy food. Socially, everything like revolves around food as well. Like in any social gathering, there's going to be food. Like when you get together with friends, you talk about food. and I think the Charlottesville has some very good food uh, uh, environment. We found this one Peruvian restaurant here in Charlottesville that now Nini won't let me go to anywhere else other than this Peruvian restaurant. Every time we're um going to eat out, it's like, oh, where should we go? And Nini goes, Inca Grill, Inca Grill, Inca Grill. It's like, it is very good. It is very good. I really enjoy it. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of other restaurants as well that I'd love to try as well.
And just to add on that, we have also found like a Latino store where we can get supplies to make our own food. So I think like Charlotte has everything, so people can adjust to like the food. We find literally everything to cook Peruvian food here.
Yeah, there's a lot of restaurants, a lot of grocery stores. I think more grocery stores per capita than anywhere else in the United States. I heard that recently on another podcast episode I was hosting. I can believe it. But it's big. It's a bigger town than people imagine. I think when people are, it's obviously not New York or Chicago or San Francisco or some of these places, but it's a bigger town. It's not just a college town. Yes, the University of Virginia is here, but there's a lot more that's also happening here. And Nini, I want to come back to something you said earlier. You mentioned that you were part of Section D. This is part of the first year experience. What was your favorite thing about being part of Section D? Was there a tradition, something that y'all did as a group that you really loved?
I love, first of all, like the people. All the section has the cheer that you learn on your first day of class. But I think that what I like the most is that we created a new tradition. Our section rep came up with a song for Section D, which basically says like there's no Darden without the D. So yeah, she came up with this song for talent show, and now it's like our section song.
No Darden without the D. That's great. Rodrigo, what section were you?
I'm in Section B. And
Section B, the birds?
Yeah, the birds.
What was your favorite thing about being in Section B?
My favorite thing, well, there are many things. I think we had some really interesting classes just because there are some ideas being shared that were probably not the status quo, and it kind of widened the conversation during classes. I really enjoyed some conversations, even if they weren't. I didn't share the same vision of those ideas. I definitely appreciated like having them in the conversation. I think it enriched the whole range of ideas that were shared.
Yeah, I can imagine. You obviously go through the entire core with folks there, so you get pretty comfortable with each other. Perhaps people feel open, sharing different viewpoints, disagreeing with each other. It's all part of the section experience.
Yeah, definitely, and that is encouraged. I like that we get to appreciate a lot of different perspectives, and it going in, you probably have never thought of an idea that someone else says, and once it's said, it's like oh, now my perspective is wider. So I really enjoy that.
I want to talk a little bit more about how you both spent your summers. So Nini, what did you do this summer? Where were you?
I was in Charlotte, really, really amazing city, working for McKinsey as a summer associate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy being in Charlotte?
Yeah, I loved it. I lived in South End for the summer with one more Darden student. We were roommates for the summer. We both were at McKinsey, so the experience we had was amazing. People are young that usually live around that area, so there were a lot of like events, live music, bars, walking distance from our house. And I also really enjoyed my internship I was on a transformation project in Kentucky, actually. So I also got to know Kentucky. I was there like probably half of my summer, and just like enjoying in general, like getting to know new people and being amazed by how smart and how great people do their job.
Yeah, I can believe that. If you're working at McKinsey for summer, you're going to run into a lot of smart people. That that
Yeah.
makes that makes sense. Rodrigo, how about you? What would you do this summer?
I I spent my summer in Atlanta in the BCG office. It was very interesting experience for sure. I really liked it.
So obviously, Rodrigo's in Atlanta. You're in Charlotte, Nini. Is it hard? I mean, we talked about the process of going through the admissions process as a married couple. How about the career recruiting process? Is that also challenging? How does that work?
I think it was also challenging, first of all, because we had like some odd recruiting, so to say, because we as Latinos get opportunities to apply to bigger companies before actually starting our MBA. So I applied during Inspire, which is a program that McKinsey has for minorities, which includes Latin people. And I got my internship back in August 2023. Right, like we didn't even have a month here in the US, and we didn't exactly know how it worked, like how many companies were at each city. So we really liked Charlotte. And Rod was actually the one that came up with the idea for me applying to Charlotte because we liked the city just like by searching on the internet because we hadn't got the chance even to talk like to students at that point. That's why I applied to Charlotte. And when Rod was recruiting then, it was like obviously it's not like it's a city that's growing, but it's not Atlanta or New York. So the opportunities in Charlotte were way less than in other cities. And we also, since we both wanted to start like trying out consulting, there are not many consulting firms in Charlotte. And that's when it became challenging because Rod couldn't recruit for Charlotte because of the path that he wanted to follow. So that's why we ended up in different cities during the summer. But it wasn't that bad at all. Like it was 4 hour drive. We had a lot of like different means to get to one another city. So it was a good summer.
Yeah, Charlotte to Atlanta is not so far. You easily could have been something like New York to Chicago or West Coast, East Coast.
Yeah.
At least you're kind of in the same region, so to speak, if not in the same
Yeah,
city.
we have a couple of married friends that were like that. One in DC, the other in Texas. So we were lucky enough to be like close enough to be able to see each other during the weekends.
All right. Well, Rodrigo, here you are. You're back in Charlottesville. It's nice to be back. As you mentioned earlier, what are you looking forward to in second year? What are you most excited about?
Well, there's definitely something I left for the second year, and that is doing more outdoors activities. I think other than the first year camping trip, we never went out camping. So I really wanted to spend more time in the outdoors here in Charlottesville. It's a great city to do that. So um, I'm most excited about that.
How about you, Nini? What are you looking forward to in your second year?
I think a couple of things. I don't know if you know, but I'm VP of Darden Cup. So organizing the events, it's a lot of work, but it's also rewarding to see how people enjoy all the hard work you're putting into events. So that's one, and like help Darden build this community that we are well known for. And second of all, like I really like mentoring people. So I'm already starting to get to know like first years and trying to help them go through what we went a year ago. So both of those things I think are gonna be my highlights this year. And obviously like getting a little bit more outdoorsy this year with Rob.
You mentioned at the beginning that the Darden Cup is now underway. It started. What's happening with Darden Cup right now? What's going on?
Well, it started yesterday, so we had our first event, which is lawn games. There are like 5 different activities you can participate in, like three-legged race, egg toss, dodgeball, wheelbarrow. So it's fun. It's a competition, friendly competition between sections. I don't know if you know much about Darden Cup, but basically each section compete for their section, and we have like 9 events to go. like sports events, and also we have trivia, talent show. So it's gonna be like a year full of activities for the Darden community.
Rodrigo, are you also a Darden Cup fan? At least a supporter. I guess you have to be. You're married to the vice president for Darden.
Yeah, that makes me an automatic helper for Darden Cup. Yeah, we stayed late cleaning up and organizing everything that was left out for sure. I am a fan for sure. I've played a lot of different sports, and I just enjoy playing sports in general. So this is I really enjoy this.
I want to ask a class-related question now. You mentioned you're both a lot of activities that you're excited about. Rodrigo, is there a class that you have scheduled or that's on the horizon for you that you're really looking forward to in the second year? I think you mentioned earlier that you were excited to choose your classes, obviously have a bit of a friendlier schedule, a later start to your mornings. But is there a particular class you're excited about?
Yeah, there's in the next quarter there are some operations focused classes that I'm excited. I also really wanted to take pricing this pricing and negotiations. I really wanted to take negotiations last year, but didn't make it. Didn't bid enough points apparently, but I can do negotiations this year. I think that was a big one for sure.
But you, Nini, any classes that you're really excited about here in your second year?
Yes, excited and scared, I think, because I'm not a finance person and I know I won't be going into finance, but I really want to understand better the financial world. So I'm trying to take finance classes every single quarter. I took valuations last quarter with the investment bankers, which was challenging. And now I'm taking PE, like private equity. And next quarter I'll be taking investments. So I'm excited about like learning actually really completely new for me with those classes.
That's great. That comes up a lot on the podcast. We ask people about what electives they're choosing, and oftentimes it's things that are maybe harder, maybe not as comfortable for them, maybe a little bit different than what they're going to be doing day to day. But they feel like this is important information. They need to know this as they move forward in their career. Just want to have a better perspective. And hey, you only got one more year in your MBA program. If not now, then when? So I appreciate that. Couple more questions for you before we wrap up. So Rodrigo, curious if you'd have a piece of advice for married couples who are thinking about their MBA journey, planning sort of for these next couple of years. What would you encourage them to think about?
That's a good one. There are many things that married people going to MBA should be thinking about. I think the first one would be, this is not a competition. This is a joint venture. Like, you have to potentialize, help, support your partner, and you should not be comparing yourself to your partner for sure. It's People are in different stages in life, in their professional life. So don't think you are more or less than your partner. Just think of you are complemental. So just going forward with your partner, not as a competition, but um, doing anything you can do to help them, and vice versa, would be the best approach for the MBA.
And that's a good point. You're applying together, although you're also applying separately, and people do get different news and different outcomes. Like I said, I've talked to a few married couples or on podcast here, and I do think things tend to work out the way they're supposed to work out based upon the conversations that I've had. There seems to be some kind of law in the universe that things eventually kind of lead, a path becomes clear. Even though I know it's stressful, it's ambiguous. You're applying, you're not sure what's going to happen. Nini, how about for you? What's a piece of advice you would share with our married listeners who are thinking about going forward on the MBA path together?
I would say like before even starting, like align interests, like know exactly what you want or what you want and or what you don't want. So both of you can be sure about where they're going. For us was like the decision or where we wanted to live. It was a no, like New York, we don't want to go to New York, so we knew that we were not gonna be going there, for example, like a line path or align your interests. I think that's really important, and that's what we did first, and then we started like looking into schools that we both would like to go to.
All right. And last question, somewhat related, but also different. So, Nini, you mentioned that you're trying to raise awareness in Peru, and we have, as I shared earlier, about 40% of the full-time MBA class, relocate to the United States, to Charlottesville to do their MBA program. What's a piece of advice for our international students who are listening to this, contemplating, maybe picking up, moving halfway around the world to pursue their MBA? Something you would encourage them to consider?
I would say like first of all, like start your application or your whole process early, because if you start like late, you're gonna be like stressing out way too much about the application and probably not show yourself as your best self, and just be yourself. And when you're moving, it's like I would really advise you to be really organized, because there are like too many things you have to get done before moving, like wrapping up jobs, maybe like leaving your apartment, getting the visa. So be organized and know exactly what you need to do. Get a list or whatever helps you in order to be able to have everything ready to move to the other country. And obviously, like know where you're going and do a little bit of research of where you're going to, where you're gonna be getting at first, and then like work around that. And I think people also, once they get to wherever they're going, they should start their network right away. I even like started before coming to Darden, talking to people from Latin America that were also going through the same. So that also helps.
Yeah, how did you learn about Charlottesville? Was it just Google searches? Did you talk to anybody in
Yeah,
particular?
I reach out to second years. Mostly like Peruvian second years were my main source of like anything. So I reach out to them every single time I had a doubt. So don't be shy, and also reach out to us. Reach out to people that have already been through what you're going through, that they would understand you the best, I think. And like Darden is an open community. Everybody wants to help each other. So like don't be afraid to reach out to second years, alumni, or even first years that are already here, because we know exactly what like they or the new like the incoming student are going through, because we went through it like a couple of years ago. So that would be a good piece of advice, because I leverage on that, and I think that really helped me.
Rodrigo, how about for you? What's a piece of advice you would share with our international student listeners?
Yeah, that's tough. Nini said like six advices. Didn't left me any. Um, but yeah, I would agree. I would say first do your research, set expectations, and definitely source your research to people that already know about it. You definitely don't want to get to Charlottesville and then think that you were coming to like a city like New York. This is the farthest away from New York that you can get probably. So I would really advise on that. Research, set expectations.
Curious, did y'all visit Charlottesville before you made your decision, or was it all at a distance?
We did actually. After it was admitted, we came to the Darden Admitted Student Weekend to get to know the people, get to know grounds, get Rod to talk to people also from admissions. Because we were really interested in coming to Darden. As we mentioned, like Darden was our first choice. So yeah, and we were amazed. Like as soon as we like stepped foot in Charlottesville, we were like, okay, this is our place to be. We don't want to go anywhere else. I think Roddy didn't even want to fly back to Peru at that point. And we were here for only a weekend. Then he was like, I'm staying.
Well, I love that. Well, I appreciate both of you coming on the podcast, sharing your story. And like I said, we don't have a lot of married couples here. It's great to highlight that journey, because it is the journey for some of our students. They're applying with a spouse, with a partner, trying to figure that out together. So thank you both, and best of luck in your second.
Oh, thank you very much, Brett.
Thank you for having us. We really enjoyed the conversation.
And that was my interview with Rodrigo Delgado and Nini Ratto Schol, 2 second-year students in our full-time MBA class of 2025. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, requests, anything you'd like for us to cover here on the podcast, we're all ears. We can be reached at Darden, that's DARDEN, @virginia.edu. Till next time, stay safe, be well, and thanks for listening.